V'hinei haGemara perakam d'ksubos daf Yud Amud Beis. Now it's brought in the Gemara, my almana al shem mana chulu ksuba mana. What is an almana? It's an almana al shem mana on because of mana. Because the name of the amount of the ksuba is one mana. V'hiksham maharsha b'chidush yagadus mepasuk kilo alman. And so the Marsha asks about this perush in Chidush Yagadus from the verse that kilo alman Yisrael, that Yisrael is not an alman. So if it was mana, shmatzinu kain b'lashon zachar, we find that it's also a masculine. So if it's from mana, which is a feminine word, why would you have the masculine of alman? It's Aidi de Karula Almana Kari Ledachar Alman. And he says that it's Lavdavka, since they called her an Almana, so they masculinized it as well, even if it's not from the actual meaning of the word. Targum Yonasan Kilo Alman. However, Yonasan translates that Israel is not a widower, that they're not abandoned. We can explain the words of the Gemara according to what it says in Pardes, in Erech Noim, where it talks about Almana, who Hamalchus, Kasher Eina Tiferes Ima, when Tiferes is not with her. The intention is because you have these 100 gates that are in darkness and exile. Vainu almana, that is the Pirish Ein Mea Sha'arim, that is al, meaning negative, not the mana, not the 100 gates. So mana is gematria 95. I'm not sure how that's 100, but at any rate, it refers to the 100 gates. So you don't have the 100 gates. Al mana v'chein kishani says ksubas mana. So when she gets married, her ksuba is 100. Oh, mana means 100. As opposed to masaim. So when she gets married, her ksuba is 100. That you return the light to these 100 gates. Ad kan shono. So that fits with ksubos, where it says al shem mana. The almana is because of the mana, the ksuba that's mana. We can awaken to what is brought in the siddur and the verse, that he strengthens, supports the widow and the child who lost their parents, and the orphan. Ubir ha'inyan, an explanation of the matter. Yishlomo, we can say al pi masher amru razal, v'ata Yisrael mahavai elokecha shoel mi'imach. Now, what does havai your elokah ask from you? Al tikri ma'ala me'ah. Don't read what? Read 100. Elu me'ah brachas chu. That refers to the 100 blessings. Asher inyan me'ah brachas hu shemamshich or me'bechinas keser be'bechinas malchus. That the concept of the 100 blessings is that we draw down the light from the concept of the crown into malchus. Look what's brought in Zohar on the verse that the life of Sarah was 100 years, that Keser corresponds with the number 100, whereas Malchus corresponds with the number 1. So you draw down the 100 into the Malchus. Because Chochmah and Bina are called 20, and the Keser is called 100. And look what's brought about the idea of the singles the tens and the hundreds, Shem Gimel B'chinos Neran, that they correspond with the three levels of the soul, Nefesh, Ruach, Neshama, B'dibur HaMaschil, Matovu, Be'inyan Es Birchorasi Laka Chulu, where it talks about how Esav said that he took my firstborn ship. V'ayin Zor Chelik Beis Truma Kuf Kaf Zayin Aleph B'Meori Oros Mem Sif Daled. V'isa B'Zor Chelik Beis Pashas Chuka Staf Kuf Pei Amud Beis B'Inyan Asher Lo Allah Aleha Ol, and it's brought in Zohar Chukas about you have to have or a heifer that did not have a yoke upon it, that that is to say that the 10 spheres of their ampin, that through them and with them you draw down the 100 blessings, went away from her, and so forth. I guess that has to do with the yoke. And that is when, like we said, that when you have the two united, that's when you have the 100. That when you have a state where you don't have the supernal union, you don't have the 100 blessings, through the supernal tzaddik, hamamtik vurasa chulu, which sweetens her strictness. So that's when you have the 100 blessings, when you have the tzaddik and the union and the hamtakas agvuros. Like it's brought in Reshis Chachma, that in the word tzaddik is hinted the 100 blessings. All of this is look what's brought about the 100 blessings in the Mamar about you're standing today in front of Hashem. And that Mamar, it says on the bottom here that Drush, what is Atem Netzavim Dilakam, and Drush Nichtavai Deatzimach Tzedek B'Sefer Drushim B'Sefer Dvarim, that this Mamar was written out by the Tzemach Tzedek in the book of Drushim, about the book of Dvarim, B'Sofonim Zadrush Atem Netzavim Zeh. And in the end, that's where you find this Mamar about Atem Netzavim. Now, all of this is very bekitzer, he doesn't explain all of these references that he's bringing. Binyan v'ne'uma gever hukam al, so al is gematria 100. So David HaMelech speaks who established the al, the yoke, that's called the yoke. But he established the 100 brachos. Ubelakuti Torah Parshas Maseh Dibur HaMaschil Ela Maseh Drusha Shlishi. All of this is the concept of when you have a union, the bracha, it's opposite of alman. We can further say Ki bracha nimshach me'os beis, that the blessing is drawn from the letter beis, b'chinas chachma, which is the concept of wisdom. Ki b'chachma yivnim bayis, because with wisdom you build a house. V'ayidei me'a brachos mamshichim a bracha gam me'alef shehu keser, and through the 100 blessings you draw down the blessing also from the aleph, which is the crown, so the blessing itself is chachma, is beis, and the 100 brachos, that's the aleph. Vainu husafas aleph b'ma nasameh, that is when you add the aleph to the ma, you get 100. So the chachma is ma, but the aleph in the chachma in the ma, that's a me'ah, that's 100. We can further say ki binyan hamalchusim me'eser malchuyos shel ha'eser sfiros, the building of malchus is from the 10 malchuyos of the 10 sfiros, the 10 malchus of each malchus of each sfira. Kishahin kol echad kol miyud, and each one is composed of 10. That's the malchuyos, that's 100 malchuyos. V'zeu al yidei mea brachos, and that's to 100 blessings. What about a virgin whose ksuba is 200? We can say that it's 200 to those who guard the fruit. So ha'elef lecha Shlomo, 1,000 for Shlomo, or the aleph for Shlomo, like we said, the aleph is keser, and 200, and then the end of the pasuk is 200 for those who guard the fruit. Guarded fruit, like a besula, her fruit is guarded. And the pasuk says about Yisachar that their heads are 200. So where it says about Queen Esther, that whatever Achashverosh wanted, he would have, if he wanted to have the flavor of a virgin, so Esther would be like it would taste like a virgin. In the intimacy, whatever he wanted. This idea is that which I command you today, that the Torah should be in your eyes, like new, like a virgin. That's the concept of the virgin yichud chadash, like a new union. Look what's brought in Matovu about the concept of the firstborn. Look, so Bechor is the singles of 2 and singles of 20 and singles of 100. And the Midavos Kodesh, the tens of thousands, how do you draw down that through Tshuva you draw down the Reish? Shuhu Masayim, which is 200. Vatzadik Mamshich Mea Brachos, but the Tzadik draws down 100, so the Baal Tshuva draws down 200 more than the Tzaddik. So from this you can understand that the 100 blessings cause to draw down that you should not have the concept of the widow, or at least to have the idea of support to the orphan and widow. Like a widow whose husband went to the other side of the sea, that is to the mother and father, that Zah was nistalik to Ava Hepach, Al Kinyazov Ish, Esaviv Esimov, Davak Mekanesis Israel, and it's the opposite of abandoning the mother and father, the Chochmah Bina, and cleaving to the wife, the Knesset Israel. Here, the husband, Zeranpin, has left the wife and gone back to the mother and father. What is this support to the orphan and widow? Keser. That is, you're drawing down from the mazel, from Keser, Al Shem, Ryan Sham, that you had drawn down from Keser, which is drawing down from the concept of wild growths, like wild flowers and wild produce that just grows on its own. Ein Shama Shekasuv Torah or Parshas Vayigash al Pasuk. You look at Yosef. Look what's brought there about Yosef gathering, the concept of the tzaddik that gathers, I guess. So this drawing down from Keser is this fichim. That's the support to the orphan and widow. So even if you don't have Chochmah Bina, so Hashem, the Aleph, you have a support from Keser. Even if you don't have the natural order of planting and growing, you still have Sfichim. Shlomo, we can say that this is drawn down through 100 blessings. And look what's brought about, the idea of him building an altar. And he says that Hashem is my height, my flag, my high place. And so I guess also drawing down from the 100 blessings and the like. Bebuch Shmos Vayikra B'Memdalad Sof Parshas B'Shalach Min Yisod B'Galus Nikra Yasom, where it talks about the idea of how Yisod in exile is called an orphan. V'Sham Minyan Osem Mishpat Yasom Chulu, and there it talks about doing the justice for the Yasom, or drawing down Tiferes into the Yisod maybe. Mishpati Urachmi. Mizemuvan Inyan Tzion B'Mishpati Padeh, and with this you can understand the idea of how Tzion, the Yisod, is redeemed through the Mishpat. Hain B'Siddur al Pasuk Zed Yasom Hainu Yisod B'Yamei HaGalus, and look what's brought in the Siddur on this, that this orphan is the Yisod as it is in exile. Like it's brought in Yeshayahu and an Aleph, that the tzaddik is lost, Malchus Nikreis Kalmana, and so that's Mitzad the masculine, the Yisod. Malchus Nikreis Kalmana, so that's the orphan, and in exile the feminine, the Malchus, that's called the widow. B'sifrei Ashorashim B'Shorosh Yesha, and in the books of the roots of Hebrew, like the Shorashim of the Radak, when it talks about the word Yesha, of saving, Ra'isi ki almana shaykh linyan elam, that I saw that almana is from the language of silence, shepirushu shtika, and like nelamtin and the like. Ki almana yosheves v'domemes, because the widow sits and is silent. So that's from a different lashon than mana. And to my mind to add, because that union. So I guess this is. I can't tell if this is from the Tzemach Tzedek or from the Shorashim, but it could be from the Tzemach Tzedek, that he adds that yichud is a union, is like speech in comparison to the almana, the widow who is silent. Like our sages said in Kesubos, that he saw a woman whose wife who was speaking with another man. What does it mean? She was speaking that she had intimacy with him. So we see so he doesn't bring it, but there's also that Mishmara Shlishis Eicha Midaberes in Baila, which is also like that idea, or Misaperes in Baila. That Sfira is from Lashon Yichud as well, it's like Sipor Dvarim. Mosham Razal Perakama de Ksubos Al Derech Alman Chasera Yichud V'Dibur Hanal, just like the widow who's is lacking this union and speech. Al Kei Nikra Almana Lashon Shtika, and that's why Almana is from the language of silent. Gam Kemayim Razalarish Perakama de Brachos Ashmuras Shlishi, so he brings it that in the Gemara Brachos, that the third Ashmora, the woman speaks with her husband and so forth, and brings on the bottom Ashmora Shlishi Slayim Zohar Chadash Eicha Tzadik Beis Beis. And look what's brought about, that when they sing together the stars of the morning, Masha Enkin Halmana, which is not the case with the almana. So I'm not, I guess the Kochve Boker, the stars of the morning, singing together, it's a concept of union, perhaps like Kriyashma or the like. So we can awaken then that the souls of Israel in exile are called the widow, Lashon Elam, from the language of silent, like the statement that like a Rachel, a sheep in front of her shearers, she's silent. I was silent for Hashem and waiting hopefully for him. Rashi Tevos Nida. So Ne'elamti Dumka Hecheshesi is the Rashi Tevos of Nida, that she can't be with her husband. She was silent, so if she's in Nida, she can't have the union. So that's again a concept of like the almana who's silent. And I guess there's a concept of Yenika to Klipos from the Geziza, the sheep that gives the Yenika. That's similar to the concept of Nida, of the discharge. That's like the Mutaros of Klipos. Kizeu gam keninyan ve'isha kizov zov dama yamim rabim. This is also like the idea of the woman who rips her blood for extended days. Kimoshikazov berabus pasha shmos pasuk alafal perak pasuk, or is it pasha alafal pasuk ve'hi bayamim harabim ahem, where it talks about in how in Mitzrayim it says, and it was in those many days. What does it mean? Rabim, like Yezuv Zov Dama Yamim Rabim. You had the Yenika to Klipos during that time of the Golos. Zeu Gam Kein Mamir Zal Per Kedi Gitten Dafnen Vav Amar Bezal Pasuk Mikamocha Bekelim Mikamocha Belemim Chulu. This is similar to what is brought in Gitten. Who is like you amongst the strong ones, Hashem? And where the drasha is, who is like you amongst the silent ones, that the goyim dance in your heichal and you're quiet. So the silence is like the idea of the Yenika to Klipos, or the lack of union during Golas time, during the time of the destruction of the temple. That is, he's so to speak called the silent one. Shinu mashpia lahadibur vayichur anal, that he does not give to her this speech and this union. But nonetheless, only like a widow, but not an actual widow, God forbid. Like it's brought in the verse that we did not see our miracles. Dafka means we didn't see it, but it doesn't mean they weren't there. But now still the wonders and the signs from Hashem are being drawn down also, even if we don't recognize. Also it's brought about the idea, the statement of our sages, that one word is worth a selah, but silence is worth two. Like it says, and you should speak to the selah, to the rock, but it also is from the language of the coin, the selah. So speech then is worth a selah, which is this concept of union, and that's the idea of, and to give the waters, to give the flow of the masculine flow. And so I guess the hitting of the rock is like the idea of doing it quickly, as opposed to b'minusa lo selechem. Mashtika betrain, and silence with two. But that through the idea of who is like you amongst the silent, you'll have an extra elevation. So here you have the other side of the silence. The silence l'mali yusa. Like it says that the son, that the firstborn, the son of the hated one, you'll recognize to give him the double portion. That's the mashtika betrain. I guess the dibur and the yichud is with the loved one, and with the hated one you have the silence. Ki Ben Yis'al Lamayla Mima, because Ban Yis'al Lamayla Mima they will be elevated higher than Shema. So if you have two kinds of union, two kinds of Birur, Ban and Ma, so Ban will be elevated higher than Ma. So to Sag. And look what it's brought about how Yosef died. Bnei Israel paru. Bnei Israel were fruitful. Even though Yosef died, Elokeim lo meis. Their Elokah didn't die. Bnei Israel paru chulu, and Bnei Israel was fruitful. The kashamai kamashmalan. The question is, what is this teaching us? That but that is to say, that even though in exile she's called a widow, because of the removal of Zas, that it goes upwards, that Yosef, which is the tzaddik, Yisod, the flow from above, was nostalgic and, so to speak, died. Nonetheless, the Bnei Israel were still fruitful. Even in the shtika, you had the shtika l'mal yusa, you had a double portion of flow from above. It doesn't mean that the light went away completely, God forbid. Alman Yisrael, because Yisrael is not a widower of Yehuda Melokov, and Yehuda from their Elokah. And look what's brought about in the Mamar, how Avram didn't know us, where it talks about when her father died, and by Esther, but so Mordechai took her. So even if she didn't have the regular flow, she still had the flow from Mordechai. And that's the idea. Is there sleep in front of him? So even if you're like an almana, even if you don't have the hashpa, really you do have hashpa from above, and not only that, but lemal yusa mashtika betrein, you get to have this extra concept. Od peirush b'shurash yesha. So he further explains in the root yesha almana maloshan makom ploni, that almana is from the language of that place. Makom ploni almoni, some undisclosed place. Shu inyan helam, which is a concept of hidden place. Almana is almoni, meaning ploni almoni, meaning an undisclosed place. V'kach inyan almana hiyosum ispodedes bebesa. So too, the almana, she's secludes herself in her house in a ploni almoni place. Like the idea of I will hide my countenance on that day. So a widow is compared to Queen Esther, from Lashon Hester, and quiet, and silence, hiding away, like Mordechai, who took her and hid her. Malchus in the Me'ira Begiloi, that the concept of Malchus does not shine in a revealed state, and therefore darkness covers the earth. That it says like a widow and not an actual widow, because the hidden state is only in our viewpoint. But the truth is that Israel is not a widower. Like when the Siddur was brought about, how Hashem supports the orphan and widow, how Hashem is a king forever. I guess even meaning to say, even during the Galus, the Malchus is still b'melucha. In Shema Yisrael Elokeinu, and that's the idea of it. Listen, Israel, Hashem is Elokeinu. Anu kilo alman chulukanal, because we are not a widower. We are not a widow. Listen, Yisrael. Even now, we have to recognize that Havaya is Elokeinu, that Hashem is still our Elokah and hasn't abandoned us. Asid love u'yihya begiloi Havaya echad. And the time to come will be in a revealed state that Hashem is one. V'ayin b'Torah or Parshas V'yeshiv al pasuk Shiur hamaylos b'shuv havaychulu. Look, it's brought about the pasuk a song of ascents when Hashem returns. Means we were like dreaming, meaning that it was only a dream, that in the reality it was that we were still with Hashem. And the Mamar about how we were gathering sheaves, alumim, is also from the language of elam, in silence, and it's a concept of nullification. And this is the idea that you should be silent when the sea was split. It's this idea of silence, of kedusha, the good idea in silence. That even though we're like an almana in silence, there's a positivity to that idea that the sea was split because of the silence. That through the silence you draw down from keser. That speech cannot reach to there. A keser, only keser comes with the silence. And is drawn down through this silence and nullification. Like it's brought in Medrash Rabbah when it says that by Yosef, that his stalk got up. My aluma, the silence, stood up. Mashtikus de ima mi kaimle. That's the silence of the mother who established it. So meaning to say, Yosef's mother, Rachel, was silent in the face of her sister marrying her betrothed. So that silence was kama for Yosef, that stood up for Yosef. V'ayin yalkut, so Iyov al pasuk, lo acharesh badav, look what's brought in Iyov in the verse that I will not be silent for him. Lo ani machrish mipnei shishatakti lo, says to him I am silent because I was silent for him. Amarta lo. So Hashem says, I am silent for him because I was silent for him. When you said to him, take your son and so forth. Ein Sham, look over there, it's about the Akedah, how Avraham was silent and did Hashem's will, so Hashem is going to be silent for him as well. Or maybe I will not be silent for him. It says lo acharish, but here it says lo ani macharish, to him I am silent. At any rate, Val Derek Zapir Shaisa Kalmana. So similarly is the idea of she is like a widow. Mashi bebechinas ilem vishtika, this idea that she's silent. And in time to come she will come with singing, gathering the alumos, gathering the sheaves, but also the silence. We will lift up the silence and elevate it to song. Where we can explain, we will elevate all of these sheaves or the silence. All this idea that the souls of Israel are silent, like the idea of gathering sheaves, which is silence. We will draw down a great blessing from this idea, which, like we said, was the concept of Rabbasiyam, or B'yamim Rabim. The opposite side of that will be Bracha Rabba, and that's for the choir master, for the silence of the dove, the silent dove. Now in Zohar Mishpatim it says that she was like a widow of a lo almana mamash, but not an actual widow. Al derech mashakazav kim mari adam, like it says that he saw the likeness of a man, v'lo mari adam, and not an actual man chas v'shalom upon the supernal chariot in Yechezkel. Ein sham b'mikdash melech b'pashas v'yischanan dafresh sameches umar alaf perish uman demanad oraisa mina godem b'chinas haisek almana, that someone who withholds Torah from her causes that she should be like a widow. Vayin Zohar chelik beis mishpatim daf tzadik zayin amud beis b'mikdash melech perish ansa big gematria hates avayat zvos. That Nasa says in Mikdash Melech that the intimacy is in the gematria of Avayat Tzvos, that when you have the union of Shalom Shezeu Inyan Al Shalom Baruch B'Torah Tchila, and we can say that this is like the idea that when they did not bless in Torah first, and therefore we don't have the union. You don't have the onasa, so that's like what it says in the Zohar, the mana oraisamina. That when you withhold Torah from her, it's like you don't have the union, and she's like an almana, and that's the exile.